Okay, today I have a Mitsubishi, I think it's a Mitsubishi, yeah, Mitsubishi TX-68 boombox. And this one I've had lying around for quite a while. I actually like the look of this sort of era with the, even though these are probably fake square speakers, but that sort of Sony square speaker look. Would have been probably sort of mid to later 90s. And that's the only reason I bought this one. It was supposedly working, but from memory, when I tried it, one of the tape decks ran fast, I think, of all things. So maybe it's stuck in the high-speed dubbing mode or something, but not sure if it was that fast, but or the pinch roller isn't hitting the capstan. I don't think I really spent any time looking at it. I just tried it and then put it on the shelf, and it's unfortunately been there since. But you don't see a lot of Mitsubishi branded stuff around, but it's normally pretty good stuff. They did make a few dodgy VCRs early on, but then they got the hang of it, and their HS series were really good, and their TVs were always good. Mostly sold in Australia as AWA. Ooh. Man, that's one scratchy volume control. Well, that otherwise seems to work. It seems to come a bit, maybe not a bit better.
You talked about efficiency. The local school that my kids go to, in fact, there's very little parking outside the school.
That seems to work quite nicely. How did I turn it back off to tape? That. At least this one's reasonably clean. It's got a bit of dust from sitting around here, and it's probably a price tag or something on there. That looks fine. Pinch roller's engaged. Everything's good. That one does sound slower than the other, I think. No, maybe not. Both of them look like they work. So maybe it was just a small speed issue. I can't remember. It's probably been about 3 years ago now. That one sounds right. Oh yeah, that's fast. Quite a pitch difference in the voice there. So it's not massive, it's not like it's going flat out. So who knows, that's just like a motor speed adjustment issue. I wonder if they did anything silly like that Toshiba and made it where people can get to them. I wouldn't think so. That's the only one I've ever seen, I think, like that. Some rather rusty old sockets. That could have even been from sitting here. It's been in the garage for ages, where it used to get a bit damp. These release themselves. Just pressing the right way, maybe. What's nice is it's got sockets on there. It'd be interesting to have a look inside one of these and see. I reckon they've cleverly hidden. Oh, you can see the round speaker in there. I reckon they've done their best to make sure you couldn't easily see that they don't have square speakers. No pistonic motion or whatever the Sony ones were. Is it square pistonic motion or something? I forget what the little, that FH7 had it on the speakers, I think. Now 2 screws there, and I'm thinking where's the others? Oh, under here somewhere. Looks like someone's marked it with their license. The old community watch thing or whatever, in case someone nicks it. This, it is a front off type one, as most of them have been. I think most boomboxes were, but nothing coming loose so far. And of course the battery's flat in the camera again. This old camera's had its day. But I'll have to get off my backside and fix a new camera. Oh, we've gained a little brass piece out of something there. That's a worry. There's got to be another screw. Another screw there, I reckon. Yeah. That's made in Taiwan. Designed and engineered by Mitsubishi Electric, made in Taiwan. Portable Compo. Shouldn't that be Combo? Don't know about that. Something's maybe we still got to undo those other ones. Maybe I shouldn't have. I hate it when there's two screws in these things because you don't know if something's going to fall out. Yeah, I probably could have left those other two in there. I think I might put them back in so the metal bits don't drop out. I'd say those bits are probably locked into the front bit a bit better, but then why would they put screws in both? Don't know, maybe because they just decided to use metal joiners, which is kind of good in a way, at least they're solid. But everything comes out with the front. And here's some dust and muck in there, not a surprise. I'll take that out and clean it out later. Oh, well that's weird, it's only, it looks like a single speed motor and it runs both decks. Just the same as that National I just pulled to bits. It's awfully close, but no, different idlers and stuff. Got a dead critter in there. Ugh. Cobwebs everywhere. But like I say, it's been sitting in the garage. It could have happened here. Nice tidy little circuit board. We've got a Panasonic or Mitsubishi, Toshiba. Not a single Mitsubishi thing I've seen so far. What's that chip on the side there? That's another AN. Mitsubishi type one. So yeah, I don't think Mitsubishi probably had much to make. They did make chips in their TVs and stuff and other semiconductors, but they probably didn't make a lot of audio because they didn't make a lot of audio chips. Or something along those lines. I know, these got the little pause things up here. So how's that possible? We've got a speed difference on the same single motor in two tape decks, which should have the same switches. I guess, yeah, that switch is wired and parallel with that one. Well, that's an interesting one. There's another switch here for some reason. There's a, it's just an earth wire looped up there. And it is an SHL 9L, which doesn't seem to have a date on it or in any readable format. 82, I doubt it will be 82, 7, 8, 21, 50. No, don't know what that means. This would definitely, I think, be later in the 80s. At least the middle of the 80s. Oh, it's got a bit of damage to the top of it, unfortunately. It's been dropped or something. Is that an aluminium? Yeah, it's aluminium coating this whole bit. Well, except for the little strip there, I think. So we've got nice aluminium coatings, another strip of aluminium there. So where do I even approach this from? Assuming the belts are all in place, yeah, they're on the pulleys right, I think. Because you could get something if that one, if the belt on the capstan wasn't sitting right or something. The same motor, with you would assume the same voltage since the switches, and there's another switch there. That must be the motor switch, I'm guessing. Something's still charging there. I think that ran a bit. How the hell can it run at different speeds? Always assume that someone may have done something to it. Don't think we've got any other speed adjustments, just be the one in the back of the motor. So this is actually not dual speed dubbing. Synchro dubbing. Dubbing continuous playback. No, I don't, I mean, it wasn't always the best. Dubbing on, mic on. Dubbing off. Yeah, it says Compo again, portable Compo. Usually Compo means compensation, like workers' Compo. So I think there might have been something lost in translation, but yeah, wow. I guess I'll just give this thing a quick clean and we'll have a look at it. Next thing we better do get this hooked up and see what on earth is going on here. Looks like we've got some sort of amp IC under that bit of steel. Oh, there is a pot there, but I don't think that's anything to do with it. Yeah, some sort of IC 501 there. Anyway, let's... How can that be possible? How can the same motor... The only thing I can think of would be something different in the voltage or something. Maybe the motor's fast but one deck isn't. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's got to be something different feeding the motor or something. I mean, they're both literally, the capstans are running together. Don't know if this really matters which way I go, but we've got 11.47 volts when I do that deck. .42 volts, or full 3, full 4, full 5. So I might as well say identical. What happens if I do press the play on the other deck at the same time? I wonder if I can play... I'd need the same tape both times, wouldn't I? Doesn't speed up when I do that one. Well, the other option is it's running fast and something in that deck is loading it down, maybe? Slowing it down? Well, that would have affected it when I did it. That mutes it. How do I... Which button is the mute button? That one there, probably. I need to disconnect this mute, I think. Oh, I'll just put something insulating in there, maybe a bit of cardboard or something. Rather than worrying about disconnecting switches and stuff, can I just poke a bit of tape in there? So it shuts, but it doesn't connect. Well, it stopped it muting, but nothing changing the speed. Nothing I do there changes the speed at all. The belt slips enough. But the question is the other one actually the one at fault running slow? Interesting, this one doesn't come on now that I've muted the switch. You wouldn't read about it, would you? Uh-oh, still doesn't come on. What have I done? What on earth have I done to it? I've got to restart it or something. Yeah, I'm actually questioning which deck is the correct one. I got a feeling there's a faster version of that song, but I don't think that's it. Actually, it might be the fast one that's actually correct. That's what I'm worried about. Yeah, the slow one's the problem. Okay, that's, I think, solves that problem. First thing is know which one's the good one. I think the best thing is probably going to hook up an oscilloscope and actually check the speed. Make sure the motor is set correct on what I think is the good deck, and then we can try and diagnose why one of them's slow, if that's what it is. It would make more sense one being slow because the belt's slipping or something. And the fact that belt slipped on that deck, but I can't remember a tape deck playing slow due to a slipping belt. But there's a first time for everything. Especially when it comes to fixing electronics things, there's always a first time for everything. And the more insane it is, the more likely it is to happen, I think. I cannot get any life out of this frequency count. That's great. So I wonder if that's got the issue on this side. That belt's, I noticed it was a few bits of black stuff there. You can actually see chewed up bits on there, but the only possibility really is that this runs smoothly as. Pretty much the same. That feels a little freer. One thing is, why do these capstans look different? Is it sitting at a different height? Oh, it's because the pulley's different, of course, because they've got to be at different heights to match the motor pulley. That makes sense. Well, I got no idea. All I can do really is lube it up, and I might put new belts on it and see if that makes any difference. Oh, you're telling me that switch is in the way of changing the belts? I mean, that belt has got a little bit of damage too by the look of it. I don't know what's been going on with this one. It is the weirdest looking belt I've seen. It's all... Is it just stuff on it, or is it actually... No, it's kind of chewed up and weird on the edge there. Or maybe it was like that from new. Looks a bit like it hasn't been cut properly. Now, does the capstan have... Looks like it's got something. It's either got a washer on it, or it's got a clip, I think. Speaker in the way now. I think we're going to have to pull this to bits. Give it a lube. Chuck a couple of new belts in it. I don't know what else to do really, because I don't see how one motor can run at 2 speeds. Only thing could be that something is loading it down. The capstans run together, so it can't really be the capstan. It's only got to be the reel or something when it's loaded up. That's why you don't normally see things like this. So it'd have to be something loading it down. But didn't I start this deck up with the other one and it didn't load that down? Yeah, that's what I did when I put that switch to stop it muting. So it still doesn't make any real sense. But sometimes you just gotta forget logic, because it doesn't apply. But yeah, what a pain in the frequency counter doesn't seem to want to work. I mean, it was only a second hand when I got somewhere with a noisy transformer in it, but what did I use as a frequency counter? I think it was one I built from a kit before that, and then I got rid of that, I think. Besides cassette decks, I don't think I ever really used one much. Must have been that old one I built. I think it was an old ETI, Electronics Today design. And I said, well, that was still in that box there somewhere, I think, the circuit board out of it. That I kept. Let's just at least have a look at this and see what's going on here. Oh, that belt has lost a lot of little bits and pieces, it seems. The one going to the idler. So that's a bit odd in itself. But are they bits of belt? Yeah, they are. It's going to turn into goo. Or at least the pieces of it have. Okay, the camera battery ran out on this one, but I proceeded with it anyway, so you missed all the boring stuff. And basically what I did is replace the 4 belts in it. I lubricated that capstan that I took out on the slow deck, and yeah, switched my frequency counter back on. It actually decided to work, and both of these are running at 1012 hertz now, so just 12 hertz above 1 kilohertz on the test tape, so they're running fine. I'm not going to bother trying to tweak it to get it perfect. And yeah, I'm really still not sure why. It's because the capstan sets the speed, and yet both capstans seem to be running freely. It wasn't dragging the other one down, and yet seemingly changing the belts fixed it. Only real hassle, these are just these standard, I had to dig out my other one here, those, are they tension or something, mechanisms, whatever they were, the one with that little plastic piece that goes up and down for the auto stop. The only weird thing that happened is when I had this apart, one of these little pins, I don't know if I caught it on something, I'm pretty sure I didn't, but one of these little plastic bits for the pause piece here just shot off. I heard it land on the floor but couldn't find it, so I stole the one off the back of this other. This was out of the sharp mechanism I used in my video on how to repair cassette players, and I pinched a little bit off that, and just, yeah, the other bits came loose, so I just chucked them to one side. The only real trick in this at all is this little switch here has to come out to get the belt on this deck out, and it's actually clipped into the metalwork, and there's 2 little tiny pins on it. Whoops, that one's actually come free by the feel of it. Gotta watch them, they click out pretty easy, but normally you have to press the little pieces. There's a couple of little tiny bits sitting up near the metal, and you just press one side, lift it a little bit, press the other one, and the whole switch should slot out, and you just got to kind of slot it back in, trying to get both to click in around the same time. I don't think there's anything else exciting in this. I just cleaned the heads, and it all seems to be going again. I cleaned all the cabinet up on this. Came up pretty good. It's actually in close to mint condition, besides there's a bit of a ding in the top there. There's probably a couple of bits I could still clean up a bit better. There's a scratch there. The rest of it's pretty damn good. It's, yeah, like I said, I've put a few smears on it now. But yeah, it's weird, it doesn't seem to have the high-speed dubbing on this thing. But, you know, a lot of the time you didn't use that anyway. It never seemed to sound quite as good. That LED's sitting on a bit of an angle, which I think it always was. I didn't take it off. And I cleaned out the back part of the cabinet. I cleaned up the speakers. I think these are just a foam grill thing, or like a speaker cloth, I guess, over the speakers. I haven't bothered pulling these to bits, so I don't know if there's much point. I guess in some ways it wouldn't hurt, just out of interest, to have a look what's actually in these things. But I don't think it's going to be very exciting. Just a round woofer, a piezo tweeter, I assume. Always interesting to see how they built some of this stuff though. But I do like the look of this box. It will make a nice display piece. I bought this one, probably one of the earliest boom boxes I've bought in any recent times, just because I like the look of it. And there you have it, 4 ohm, maximum 5 watts, little tiny piezo. It's got a nice little bit of metal bracing in there. I guess we can have a look and see if it's just I doubt it's got a silver dust cap or anything, because that would be a bit wasteful, but you never know whether they stuck one of those type in there, and we'll see what that cloth grill is like. Did one of these ever damaged? I think that's that National one had the damaged grills. Because I'm just looking, you can bend the stuff there, so it's just a piece of cloth. Black voice coil, at least it hasn't been faded by the sun or anything because of that cloth. But it's literally just a piece of cloth. Looks like it could be an old bed sheet or something, just about, or a curtain or something, that kind of more open weave type cloth. Meant to be sort of acoustically transparent. But yeah, I do like the boxes from this era, quite a nice era of boombox styling, I think. They sort of look modern, but without going to the horrible curvy sort of 90s ones that kind of look bland. These still had the square shape of the earlier ones, but they were black and a bit nicer looking, a bit more refined looking, I sort of think, than a lot of the old silver ones weren't always the nicest looking. Some of the higher end ones with the nice metal grills and all that were, but some of the plastic, the lower end boxes, not the greatest things. A lot of them had the fake expanded aluminium grills, but they were made out of plastic. I think I've got a there's a pair of them here, the old silvers that are like that, I think. The Sanyo I used to own that I bought new when I was a kid, that was like that, had the fake expanded aluminium grills on it. But yeah, it's just a nice sort of neat looking unit. But I think I can put this all back together now. And no idea why my frequency counter was being a bit silly, but maybe the cold or something. Maybe there's some caps or something going in there. I don't know what it was doing, but it wouldn't display properly, and then I turned it on a bit later and it worked fine. But that's the fun of electronics for you. It's really annoying though when your test gear starts playing up as well as the stuff you're working on. That's right, there were 3 screws in this one. Now I did clean those speaker connections up a bit. There's still a slight bit of rust on them, but other than that they're pretty good. Looks like we've got a battery cover for this one, which is good. That's one thing I didn't clean by the look of it. Go in there. Still not right. But yeah, this one I'll definitely have on display because it's quite a nice box. And it seems to sound half decent. I guess I can give it a quick run. A typical sort of mid-sized box. So nothing overly exciting, but not bad. Let's get these attached again. There's still a few marks on that. I think I used that orange-based citrus cleaner stuff to get rid of some sticker material off there. It's actually, again, it's left some marks on the top. So I'm not becoming a fan of that stuff because it seems to marks on the plastic. I think I'm going to next time I have to mask off this sort of stuff because it seems to leave a bit of a mess there. I guess we better wind these back up. I unwound them to clean the dust off everything. But at least I got these little receptacle things for your wire. Where we've got to go to about there, so clip that in like that. And like I say, it's just so you could separate the speakers out a bit and get a bit more stereo separation was the idea of these detachable ones, I think. But most of the time people just left them attached to the unit. Where are we? We're on tuner.
And that there's always an excuse, but the excuse is not the perpetrator's own actions. And that definitely is
FM, don't I? And let's get the tapes open. Make sure they're still working. It's still good. Well, switch it to tape would help. Sounds a little bit off on that one. Yeah, that almost could do with a slight head tweak, I think. Can we get to this one? Oh yeah, they do leave a slot. Where's my little thin screwdriver gone? I just had it a minute ago, which is exactly why I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. It's got some side cutters on top of it. I don't think that'll reach though, will it? It's a bit thicker on the shaft. They really don't give you much room. Maybe I just won't bother at all, but it does sound not quite as good on that deck. Yeah, no, I think I'll call that quits on that. Now one of these I saw, no it's not this one I don't think. So continuous playback, dubbing. Oh, I did notice this, that's the other thing I should have showed while it was open. It had a weird Was it the pause? Press something on one side. Oh man, I don't want to pull it to bits again. Does it have some sort of dubbing on? That might be... It had some sort of mechanism bit from this deck. I wonder if it... that was it. You put your tape to record on in with pause on, and then when we hit the tape we want to dub, well, it would have helped if I pressed it a bit better. Yeah, the pause comes off on this deck, so it releases it. So you can just basically cue that one up ready to go, and it's not until you press play on this. Now it starts dubbing, and strangely only in normal speed. Should the counter be going? Oh, it's trying to go. Oh, that was the other thing I found with this. Oh, maybe I should have changed that counter belt. It's not working the best. Is that I should have took the board off inside to actually get the counter out, because it left its little reset button behind, so you really have to unscrew the whole radio part and circuit board, then pull the deck out, because I had a bit of trouble getting that counter to come out, and to put it back together I had to basically remove the whole bit with all the graphic equalizer, radio and everything, sit the decks back in. Yeah, I think that counter belt's not real good, it's only just ticking over. There goes our auto stop. I did wonder about changing the counter belt, but I didn't bother in the end. But anyway, that one's good enough for a display piece. And yeah, not a bad looking box, at least to my taste. Kind of a nice neat one. I do like that the speakers are hidden in like that. That's kind of copying, I'm assuming they copied the Sony design, which did kind of look nicer with those square woofers in it. But anyway, thanks for watching.